Hi everyone, welcome back to Feral Oracle. So this video is going to be about attracting better partners. The most common thing that we experience is having the same type of relationship with ourselves and then questioning, why am I attracting the same type of person or energetic body, just in different shapes and sizes? You may be aware of the fact that this is all based off the love and conditioning and upbringing that you had. But sometimes we tend to forget that conditioning goes beyond just what your parents have taught you and the way they've treated you. There are multiple sources such as movies, TVs, friends, secondhand experiences that we hear from other people that have happened to them. We read it in books, we read the news, we see it on social media, we have our own experiences where we've heard things or we've been criticized or maybe we've been belittled or appraised for some things more than others that are equally as part of us, and all are these sources through which the mind forms. Now, something that's quite important you may want to look into if you're looking to attract better partners in your life is, how was your teenage lifestyle, or what were you consuming, or what type of friends did you have, or what would your friends really talk about the opposite gender or the gender that you're attracted to. These are subtle hints that form at a very fragile age. So it is mainly about, the first 7 years, but then there's also a lot of fragility and forming that takes place during your adolescent years. So a lot of things that you consume start shaping your mind in terms of how a man or a woman should be, and what are the conditions or requirements to be in a relationship. Conditional love is taught to us through either direct criticism or appraisal, or it is through indirect ways of reinforcement. Basically, you'd notice that your parents used to get really happy about certain things and they would not be as happy or encouraging about other things. Being that young and needy forms that level of I guess we'd say that attachment, and at that age, we're always looking for a sense of belongingness, and we tend to discard parts of authenticity because we are really needy at that age. That's the most needy you'll ever be in your life, um, as compared to your old age. But during these years, a child's brain works in the form that I need to belong, I need them. So, whatever they say is the best, it starts forming an attachment to or understanding. It's just like a treat to a dog. It's not a derogatory example, it's actually how the psyche works. If I give you a treat or an reinforcement, or if I just give you a compliment for things that I personally like, the way my brain functions, then you're gonna see it as, wow, this is good behavior. Versus when I smack you or I scold you or I shut you out or I give you the silent treatment because I don't like what you did, it creates that condition that if I do this, I'll be a bad person. Very, very strong traumatic experiences take place with children. They not just abandon their authentic part, but they lose their individuality. They fear being seen. They don't know how to speak. They don't know how to ask for their needs. So, this all combined, the authenticity of a child is removed or taken away from him or her simply because of what he or she learned during their early years. So that child is going to automatically understand that, okay, if I do this, then I may get love, and if I don't do this, I will not get love. Instead, it's actually quite definitive. It's like, if I do this, yeah, I'll definitely get love. If I do this, then I won't get love. One example that I personally experienced was the ability to speak up. And this was something that took me a lot of time to understand about myself. Asking for your needs is something that I've seen is overall, every person struggles with it, no matter what age it is. And it's almost as if I'd use the word audacity. You'd have to teach yourself that, okay, I can take space for myself. You'd have to teach yourself to gain the audacity to ask for what you want, because initial level there's a lot of trauma first you unpack. Second, it's related with shame. Third is coming to a plain level field of, okay, I feel safe with myself now, I can breathe freely, we're not constantly in flight or fight mode. Then comes the audacity level where you're like, okay, you're performing from this beaming light inside. If your subconscious mind has a belief that this is who I gotta be, and it's, imagine you're working on a straight line and that's your subconscious mind, you are not gonna tiptoe around it, because tipping toe around it is gonna feel uncomfortable again. It's like a box of belief that you've created for yourself, and you're not gonna move past it. You're not gonna move against it, basically. So the core belief that you have is going to attract the type of partner that you attract. So they're going to be inclusive of your good and your bad beliefs. Now we think about it in terms of, maybe the most basic example that we get is of anxious and avoidant. So what is the common denominator between all of this? These two are at extremities. They're like polarities, right? And the base level of it usually is the fear of abandonment, which is every human's fear, basically, not wanting to get abandoned, right? Not wanting to be alone, because we're social beings. So what do we do when we learn from a really small age to be around people? We'll have to be a certain way, a group. We'll have to fit into this group. We cannot stand out, because it also creates a fear and a mindset of scarcity, that there aren't people like me, so I should be like this, and I should just completely cut off authentic parts of me because I need to attach to these people. So when we're coming from a level of codependency where our self-esteem is low, we don't know our self-worth, we have not really exactly been given that type of upbringing that nourishes us to become this functional human being that appreciates his or her own authenticity, soul blueprint, or basically even understands what are his or her own dislikes, not what has been taught to them by their parents or society collectively. There's a very big difference between people that, have a secure upbringing rather than the ones that have a problematic childhood, right? Usually you're going to attract a lot of karmic partners, or you're just going to attract partners that are going to be mirrors. Now relationships are your biggest mirrors, because they reflect your ultimate definition of love, which came from your parents, right? And your relationship is formed in ways in which both the parents have presented a layout for those energies. So the father stands for the masculine energy and the mother stands for the feminine energy within you. There is no bargaining around this. The way you've seen these two representatives of masculine and feminine energy is the way in which you're going to embody that within you, because you have both of them. So your relationship with your father is going to determine the way others treat you. What is your interpersonal relationship with others? It's like, how are other people treating you? What type of people do you include? What type of friends do you make? The type of people that you allow around yourself. Whereas your relationship with your mother really figures out the intrapersonal relationship, which is, how do I feel about myself? What do I think of myself? How do I feel when I look in the mirror? The way I talk about myself. It's just in ways in which I feel about myself, and that particularly determines the type of quality of relationship I'm going to attract. Because these are two set examples. I started off from here because I was a blank slate. Moving forward, now when you have a father wound, especially in women, you're going to be looking for somebody to mirror that security and stability within you. It's like building a relationship with the inner masculine. And if you're having a mother wound, you're going to be someone that is quite easily startled with intimacy, commitment, because of the way that you feel about being close to people, or having a fear of women. And that is going to talk about the way that you feel around other women. It's always like with the mother wound, you're always looking for somebody to mother you, looking for refugee in other females, or you're trying to get nurturance from women, that subconsciously you're replacing the parental figure. So again, if it's father wounds, then you're looking for security, you're looking for stability. That's kind of the question that goes in when women pick like really older men, because they're looking for that stability, they want to be set. And then why do they jump into a relationship with, I don't know, the pool cleaner or the tennis ball coach or the gym trainer? Is because then they find the real love. Because one part of them, and that's how complex human mind is, one part of them is going to go out there and seek for the stability that they didn't get from their parents or their father figure, and the other part of them is going to find love eventually, and they're going to figure out, because there's a part of them that acknowledges there are unmet needs that they've been looking for their whole life, and maybe or maybe not, the father figure cannot show up anymore. The damage has been done in some shape or form. So she's going to spend her whole life looking for that. Whatever she understands as the definition of what a father figure is supposed to do. Now, this is again another part of subconscious. It's got layers, but the initial layer is this is what my father was supposed to do. So, if he didn't provide for her, if she didn't feel safe, she's going to go out, pick the most perceived alpha man, or the one that has the most money and power, because power is attractive to a woman that has felt powerless for most of her life, right? And if this comes back to why she falls in love with another man, it's because she starts feeling safe. This is that real kind of part of her that is connecting with her true femininity rather than the distorted. So nothing is wrong. It all compiles and it comes together, right? Now, same could go for men that have learned maybe through society that they've got to have this money and they've got to look like this. So then they end up attracting a woman that, likes them for all these things only. And after a while, the relationship fizzles out, or he starts feeling unsatisfied or just not satiated, and he's like, what's wrong with it? I got the woman that I wanted, I got the trophy wife, but now my eyes are wandering around the woman that actually makes me happy, or the one that I feel this primal instinct to have children with her, or I feel really homely with her. She's not the most model looking like, or she doesn't have to be like that, but she gives you the most fertile vibes. Like it turns on your primal instinct to provide and protect her, because it's not that she's triggering your mother wound in the first place, where she makes you want to constantly prove your worth by providing for her, giving her, showering her with gifts and pleasing the society. So he ends up being attracted to a woman that actually sees him for who he is, because he has always been looking for someone that doesn't judge him, basically accept him for completely who he is, and that's why he's drawn to that woman and he feels like he wants to do everything. So all of these things in combination just show you that human mind is very complex, and the more we grow up, we realize about ourselves. Of course, given that these were just two very random examples, you'd understand how we have a combination of unmet needs and met needs. Getting in a karmic relationship or something like that, or just let's just say growing up, the more you grow up, you're gonna see that through every reflection of every relationship, you encounter parts of yourself that resurface and come out as neglect parts, and they hurt a lot, and they're just like a bitch, they hurt a lot. It's because they've been suppressed for maybe all your life. You didn't even know that they existed there. You just knew that you had this really faint feeling inside of your heart sinking every time you get into a relationship, or you start getting really anxiously attached, or you want to run away from them because you don't want to show them how deeply you're yearning of love. Now, the fear is not about exactly showing them that you're yearning of love. The fear is that, am I gonna get my needs met over here? The complication that comes over here is that that's just a human. That's just a human. They're not God, or they're not your parents. And somewhere you've substituted that person in the initial phases. You've idealized them. You've made them this like best person. Oh my God, I finally found the person of my dreams. And slowly by slowly, the honeymoon, phase fizzles out, and then you realize and you see that, okay, this is a real human, I'm a real human. And that's happening because now you're developing real intimacy. Now, there's nothing karmic wrong about that relationship. It's just how humans are. We bond, we get close to each other, we open up, and we start forming attachment. So now we have expectation and unmet needs resurfacing the first go. Because if I am someone that hasn't spent enough time understanding myself, I will project all of that childhood pain and all of my unmet needs on you and make you solely responsible for my happiness and unhappiness. Anybody who hasn't taken enough time to make the unconscious conscious is going to keep calling love as a disaster in their life. They're not going to understand what do they need, and they're going to always, I guess, just confuse loneliness for connection, because it's a risky game. Not all scenarios, have to be risky, but it's a faint feeling of just that crazy chemistry where I can't live with, can't live without. I feel like that's the first sign that it is a telling sign of something that doesn't have a let's just say a strong emotional foundation, because also because you've built it up on fantasy and what could happen, and they'll change or something like that. You always get into these relationships with the concept that, oh, I'm going to change this and that, slowly with time this is going to happen. But in the initial stages, you kind of overlook all of this under the glory of honeymoon phase and how beautiful they are and how good they make you look and what all they do for you. It's almost like all the real emotional needs are just dumped out of the relationship. And that's why most of it sounds like a fantasy rather than real companionship, because real companionship will only come when your inner child is not interfering with your relationships all the time. I personally took years to unpack my own childhood trauma, and I feel like during this journey, I just realized more and more and more of the rarity that you kind of start looking for, because you'd instantaneously understand. You get so intuitive with what you know that you'd want, and energy is a real thing. So you just know if this one or this person or this friend, in fact, is somebody that would level with you at an intuitive or a spiritual level. And it kind of becomes like a muscle. The more you exercise it, you realize, and you stop confusing that loneliness or emptiness within you, because I believe that people kind of mistaken this emptiness as something that comes just from your childhood. It's not there. I feel like emptiness and vanity is something that you learn to live with just as loneliness, because you can still feel lonely even when you're in your relationship, because some part of it has got nothing to do with the amazing partner that you have. It's got to do all with your relationship with God and yourself. And that's something that is worth considering, because the more that you keep basically getting deeper and build the relationship with yourself, you will obviously find your inner child requiring your attention, but maybe lesser than it had before. It's not going to be a freaking tsunami hitting your face and you're just like, no, I can't take it, I'm having panic attacks. Some people run away from relationships because they know that they have so much baggage, and maybe when they're going to fall in love, they're going to have to face all of that. They're going to have to feel worthy of that person. But the funniest thing about worthiness that I've learned during my own journey has been the biggest gimmick that is in, the societal conditioning, that I had to fill all of these check boxes to be worthy of somebody's love. It's almost like being taught as a woman that my waist size defines it, or the way that I look and I dress is going to keep a person or a man faithful to me. You just live and you learn that faithfulness is a characteristic. You don't do anything to make that person faithful to you. It's just completely dependent on them. People's videos and chatter and gossip about, celebrities being cheated upon, the most beautiful, influential women being cheated upon. It's got absolutely nothing to do with how beautiful they are. It's just what has been told to women, that focus on your beauty so that he stays and his eyes don't wander. But that is just a characteristic that he has. It's got nothing to do with me. Life has its own curveballs, right? And you're looking for someone that's going to stay with you through thick and thin. You're looking for someone that sees past your waist size, past your wallet size. You're trying to build a real connection, and that's where you got to get at. You have to work on your own judgments. If you're someone that judges yourself for the amount of money that you have, for your appearance, for the kind of friends that you have, if you're someone that has all sorts of judgments towards the society, what are people going to think in all areas of your life, then you have to work on them, because you can possibly not ignore that type of condition within you. You're not judging at somebody else if they're not your type. You're judging yourself because you have a condition on love. You think that only if I look like that and if I am like that, I'm gonna get love. But ultimately, you gotta wake up and you gotta realize that there's absolutely no judgment you're putting on the other person. They're gonna move on in their life. They're gonna do whatever they gotta do. They're gonna find the person that they're meant to be with or suitable with. But if you're looking for real companionship, you have to stop judging other people for things that maybe give you the ick, or the just it makes you feel like they're not good enough for me, because till the time you haven't actually gotten to know them at an emotional level, you haven't invested time, you can possibly not know, because people don't look like what they can offer to you. And that is something that you cannot force. I'm not saying that give the nice guy a chance. No, I'm not saying that. If you don't feel called naturally and you don't feel that chemistry and draw to someone, just don't force yourself to fall in love or to feel companionship or compatibility with another person. This is more of an understanding solely based on the factor that whatever judgments you feel, wherever you feel unworthy, is your clue on where you're limiting your own value. And that's how you're going to grow through it. Two people can face difficulty, work on themselves, and make the relationship better. But two people can also work on themselves and realize that what got us together in the first place doesn't get us together anymore, because we both may have got together for these reasons, but now we've worked on ourselves and we've realized that there's only this and that reason, and that's not a good enough reason to be together. So we're going to sever ties because this relationship has served its purpose. There are thousands of examples you can have about relationships and compatibility. But if you do not work on yourself, or if you don't take the time to understand yourself, you're probably going to miss out on the best type of companionship you have. Because, first of all, your relationship with yourself is mirroring in all areas of your life, it's echoing, especially in your romantic relationships. Stop seeing the other people or the other person as the problem, and first of all, identify your own shortcomings, not from a place of criticism, but from a place of compassion. It's going to come from a place. Softness has to come from within, where you mother yourself. This is not going to start from your masculine energy, it's going to start with your feminine energy. So if you're someone that finds it difficult to sit by yourself, you overwork yourself, you spend too much time with friends, you cannot handle the pin drop silence, or you can't possibly meditate or do things that bring you back to your body, you're trying to ignore your body, then you're not going to be able to understand this. See, your body is absolutely insanely intelligent. I don't have to tell you any tips on how to do this. You just have to make time for it, make way for it, and listen to it, because it's gonna just start giving you whatever you need. It's self-healing, it's self-serving. Your body repairs itself. Whenever you get a scab or a wound, you're not opening up a manual book and telling your scab and reading it out like, okay, bro, you gotta heal it like this. No, it's doing its work. You kind of even forget because you know it's gonna heal itself. So the thing is, at least create space for your body to heal. You're gonna have to mother it. You gotta have to listen to it. You just need to give it the space, and it's gonna keep telling you what do you need to do in order to reach that highest timeline. Because you're not gonna possibly miss out on what's meant for you, but you may miss out on the best person that's meant for you if you don't reach the best version of you.